Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.
So, colleague, I hope that we are looking at those critical points. As I mentioned earlier, that these are different standards that we need to keep in mind, different ways uh, for keeping the key consideration with regards to the social distancing or the physical distances. What needs to be done if the social distancing is not possible? Because we know there's infrastructure, there's enrollment factors, there are a number of teachers that are there. So these are the consideration that really have a very important implication of maintaining the physical distancing in schools. There's also implication with regards to social and physical kind of support that's available in the school, the student learning outcome that has to be achieved, and there's a learning process that has to continue along with the measures that need to be adopted for the social or the physical distances. Um, there's also the consideration of the flexibility that needs the schools and the districts need to have in terms of the different learning models, the alternative learning options and academic plans. So these are the few considerations for the social distancing. And next slide, please. The colleagues, what I would like to mention here is that when we plan the social or the physical distancing measures, there are different aspects of the consideration that need to be kept in mind. Few of them that I have just explained, but it's not only limited to the classroom settings, but external to the classroom, considering the school as a unit and also the linkages that are that connects the students and the teachers with the school management committees and to the external the communities, the parents, and others. So I think this is something that's very important that we understand as a these measures as a holistic concept and not just something that has to be done in the classroom. For example, in the classroom settings, particularly, we need to guide the teachers, their teachers, that how students will keep the social and the physical distancings, how they're going to follow the seating arrangements. So these are the consideration within the classroom settings. And secondly, as we know that there might be some challenges in terms of the school opening at the closing time. At the arrival, we all know that just before the start of the schools, the few minutes earlier, there is kind of the time that more students reach the school. So then we need to see what are the measures at the entry point, and secondly at departure time. I mean, the students they try to rush to the exit gate and go outside as quickly as possible. This is the natural effort. So we need to see how we are going to manage those physical distancing measure at the entry and the exit points. Similarly, during the play or the recession time, it's also important that we see what measures have been adopted, who is responsible to support, organize the students to organize themselves in the play and other recreational activities during the recess period. This is also important. The measures, the responsibilities, and what needs to be done, what not need to be done. So these are the few things that has to be kept in mind. During the lunchtime, perhaps this is very important that we try to discourage students to share their lunch, although it's the only temporary arrangement for due to the COVID situation. But this is very important because then we can ensure the physical distancing and the students who do not sit close to each other. So this is something that can be adopted. Uh, it's also important that during the transit to and from school, if it's applicable in some schools, we need to see that how the students uh, go from one classroom to another classroom to attend different classes. This is also important in terms of the schools, the post-primary, secondary, and the high secondary schools. If the students have to move from one classroom to other classroom, we need to encourage them to not to move in a group when they enter the classroom, or if they move from one class to another. So these are the things that we have to consider. Um, it's also important that we also see what are the difficulties, what are the challenges that we can encounter, and to prepare ourselves for the mitigation and why those challenges are. These are the few things that we have to see. What needs to be done in terms of a more immediate response that can help the student and the teaching staff in the schools, that they maintain those schedules starting from entry till the exit. There are different activity that is being done at the school level. So this is something that that needs to be considered. So now we'll try to have a very small activity like we did in the earlier session. We need to see what are our ideas, how we think what can be done, what cannot be done, and something that we think it's challenging, or some of the innovative ideas that we think that how social distancing can be implemented. So we can use the notebooks and we can write some of our ideas that how the social distancing can be maintained. As I mentioned that but there are practical issues. There are different circumstances where the schools operate. From the large school to the small school, we have different classroom setting. Enrollment is it's different from school to school, and the number of teachers that are available. So I think there are those consideration that have a very important implication on how we are going to maintain the social, the physical distancing in schools. So this is something that we have to reflect. So I would request that please write in the chat box or share your ideas. And as we did previously, Akram will be there to let us know that what are the ideas so we can reflect on that. But it's important that we mention that how we think about the social distancing or the physical distancing can be maintained. So a couple of minutes for the colleagues to mention their ideas, and then Akram can let us know on that.
Social distancing is certainly is already pointed out by many participants, very serious concerns at the school level. As a teacher, we can do many things within the classroom. For example, we can arrange seating in such a way and there should be a distance of 3 or 6 feet, 6 feet in the class. But this will be certainly a big challenge for a teacher, how he maintain this agreed distance in terms of social distancing. But one thing which I want to highlight here, that 85% population of Pakistan still do not believe that there is a COVID-19. And if you visit rural areas, people make a mockery of a person who says that there is a COVID-19. So the students will be coming with such beliefs in their schools, and to what extent teacher is successful in realizing them that this is a very serious issue and you should be a serious in during games and during visiting washrooms and other social areas within the schools. These social SOPs can be easily implemented in urban areas, but rural areas it will be a very formidable task for a teacher to maintain. However, we have a good SOPs. I have just learned these things. If we are successful in teaching very well to the concerned MPs and then students, and then teachers and HMs and other the officials of the education literacy department, I think we can be successful. However, teacher has a major responsibility in maintaining social distance of the teachers because teacher is at the front level of implementing the SOPs. So we should train him and he will train to the students how to manage the social distancing. Thank you.
Ishtiyaq Sab.
Okay, right. So if there's no hands raised or we are done with that, so we can go ahead.
Ishtiyaq
Okay,
Sab.
yes, Ishtiyaq, so
Yeah.
please.
And so actually in the classrooms, we can observe half of the students can arrive in one day and a half other day, and recess shall not be observed nor the assembly. The students shall be encouraged to bring food from their home, and it's better not to have any canteens open in the school. And for the leaving and arrival time, that can also be that can also vary from class to class, so that students may not rush at one time. The earlier grades can be called at later time, so that uh, because they definitely need uh, less time in the school than the higher grades. So the higher grades can be called earlier, and the earlier grades in the later time. And so they can, so will be the leave time. The earlier grades will leave school soon and the higher later. So this way, at the gates, there will be no rush. And if schools have multiple entrances, all the entrances shall be used and specified clearly to the students that which students shall be arriving from which entrance.
Yes, Asif
Right,
sir.
Akram. Yes. Okay. Right.
We
No, thank you
have
so much. Thank you. Is there anybody, Akram?
two more.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Nisar Sab, Nisar Ahmed Dahri. Yes, Asaf, can we take more or
Yes.
continue?
Perhaps one more. Yeah. Please.
Zahir Abbas Sab.
Thank you, Akram Saab. There are many considerations which are already shared, one or two which is not shared, I am telling. First, on the priority basis, teachers as well as the school management should arrange the furniture accordingly. Secondly, if furniture is not available because in the social distancing space, so why not we use a mat in the floor setting? And second one is my suggestion is that we should start the school first on the four subjects are the major subjects. So through major subjects we can keep a social distances as well. We can say that on the shifting of the students from one shift to another shift. So we can do this.
Okay. So thank you so much. I think these are the very important feedback, your consideration that are extremely relevant, and the feedback that has been mentioned. Um, and some of the points that I would just like to discuss in detail a little bit more is that one is the perception of the community. I think this is very important for all of us to understand that, and also it requires the vigilant response from the teachers. The perception of the community or the parents, they are into, we can simply categorize into two ways. One is that the parents who care about their children, they want to see what and how the schools are prepared. And secondly, the community or the parents who actually don't believe on if there is a COVID or there was a COVID. So there are two things that these perceptions are there in the communities and the parents. And perhaps it's an established facts. We all know that what has been done globally and how the world has gone through this difficult stage. So, but it's not the time to convince um, the parents or the community through the teachers. But I would say that this emphasizes two things. One is the vigilant response of the teachers, and also support from the school management committees. So I think as part of the preparation on the social or the physical distancing, the teachers, particularly the head teachers, they have a specific role to convene those meetings of the school management committees and to show them around that how the schools are going to prepare, what measures will be adopted by the schools, and so that they know that what is happening. So the message will go well to the parents who are really who care about the children, and those who still care about the children, but they are not considering COVID as a challenge. So I think this is something that the head teachers and the teachers need to communicate to the communities uh, by the school management committee. This is very important on the part of the perception. Secondly, as we move to the next slide, Akram, if you can help on that. Yes, it's important that we also look into what are the practical measures, what are the simple practical measures that need to be adopted. We are not going to do everything because we know that there are different settings and arrangement. As I mentioned that there's a classroom teacher ratio that varies from school to school, teacher-student ratio that varies from school to school. There's infrastructure support, which means that these schools are operating in different contexts. From one school, one classroom school to a school which has several thousand students in one school. So we have to be very strategic in terms of guiding further the teachers and the head teachers and the district officials that regarding the seating arrangement. This is very important that we maintain the seating arrangement as a one important principle in the physical distancing process. How the desks are being arranged, what is the distance between those, if the floor mats are being used, how they are going to organize that, what are the signs or the labeling that has been done on both desks or the mats, so the students know that where they're going to sit, and the continuous guidance that is being provided by the teachers in the classroom. I think this is very important. Secondly, how many students will be coming to school, how the school is going to accommodate there. This is important decisions. So I think the teacher vigilance is important. They're not just going to implement the SOPs, but they are contribute to the decision making. They will reflect, and this is important that we encourage those teachers and head teachers to reflect to the education managers, the DEOs, the TEOs, to inform that what is happening in the schools while they are following the social distancing process. For example, in one classroom there are 30 students, but another there are 100 students. How they are going to maintain? Because there are two different type of schedules that need to be adopted in terms of the shifts, in terms of the different day schedule. So this is something that's important. That how the children and how many children will be accommodated by a specific school. The third is that another is the learning plan. The social or the physical distance is having a very close interlinkages with the students' learning plan, and also the decision of the government that how many schools will be reopened on 15th of September. Either they're going to decide that all the schools will reopen, or there's going to be a phased approach. But perhaps it's more likely that the phased approach will be adopted by the school by the school education department. So, but this is something that the teachers need to consider while they plan the social distancing measure in the schools, that how many students will be coming to the schools and how the teachers is going to entertain while they move forward with the learning process for the safety and the security of the children. This is very important that this is considered. You can go. Yes, please. Thank you. Um, we just would like to reflect a couple of minutes on if the social distancing cannot be followed in the school. This is something that's it's quite a challenge in terms of different ways and the strategies that need to be adopted, that how the school is going to decide based on the guidance that is that will be received from the district education department and also from the school education department at the provincial level. We need to be very concerned the groups that are schools. This is another opportunity. I come just on the previous slide. Lord, thank you, thank you. Some of the innovative ideas that we have also need to encourage the district education officials and the head teachers at the school level, the teachers, to identify the learning spaces that are additionally available. For example, if there is a small school in the rural settings and there's an additional space available adjacent to the school, so this is something that the school management committee and the school teachers need to think. So these the classes, if it's decided to have the few students in one classroom and the second one in the same schools, but the additional support, if it's available, additional space is available, so that can help students to continue. They don't have the interrupted education even in that case as well. So these are the innovative ideas that we need to explore at the local level. When the school reopening, it's also important that the continuous guidance is provided to the students. The teachers, while they have those SOPs, while they put in place those measures for the social or the physical distancing at the schools, the distance and others, the guidance that is provided, but there's an important role of the teachers and head teachers to continuously observe what is happening, what is their understanding on different measures that have been adopted by the different level of student, for example, the age group and different grades, how they are reflecting. So this is something that can help them to improve those measures at the classroom level. So these are the few considerations that need to be understood, that how the social distancing cannot be followed in schools. So the different measures that can be adopted as an as a precautionary measure, as a support to the process, and or if there's any innovative solutions that need to be there to support on that. Next slide, please, Akram. Okay, so this is a flow chart that basically reflects on the different challenges and the considerations and the interconnected kind of solutions, that how we are going to determine what needs to be done in terms of the arrangement that is required at the schooling level. On the right top corner, as you see, there are options for how to determine the different considerations. Is that different options that all students attend every day for a shorter period, for example, the morning afternoon session, on the evening sessions. These are the things that can be think of. Secondly, they are related consideration, because when the students leave, the other students will come into the same classroom. So what is the disinfected processes? Who is going to do that? What's going to be the supplies or the inventory? This is something that has to be planned very well. Secondly, if there are different shifts, the school is going to entertain students for different days per week. So what's going to be the implication in terms of the physical distancing, how this is going to be planned in that way. It's also important, as I just discussed, on the communities, what are the different options available. The perception is important. Their support is also important. And also there is a local support in terms of in-kind contribution for the school is also important. For example, if there's additional mats are required, if there are additional desks are required, I think this is something that has to be discussed prior to the school reopening with the school management committee. So if there's any support coming from the community, so that can be explored. So similarly, this flow chart is also helping kind of a decision making. For example, if there is enough space for the children to be seated 3 to 4, 6 feet apart. So on the left corner, on the left top corner, as you see, so if the answer is no, there are different actions that need to be taken. And if the answer is so, yes, so there are different type of decisions or the next action that can be adopted. So I would suggest that as you go on further in the training process, so this is something that's kind of a brainstorm that is needed. So there are clear action that can be adopted if there are certain facilities or determined that are possible to keep in mind when the social or the physical distancing, or there is some challenges that are there that need to be resolved.